Good morning once again. So let's quickly round up bash function. Don't forget, I told us that bash is a scripting language which is used to navigate around Kali Linux operating system. How many programming languages did I said we need to learn as cybersecurity experts for us to be able to navigate around Linux? How many of them did I mention? For us to be able to navigate around Linux, we need to know at least one scripting language. How many of them did I mention? Four. Okay, can you call them? You said? Yeah, are they scripting language? VI. They are scripting languages. Nano is also a scripting language in Linux. Is that what you are saying? What you mentioned, they are just text editors. They are like the IDE, the platform, or your code writing platform, right? In fact, your IDE, look up here. Your IDE is not even the V, neither the what? The nano. Let me prove it to us. This is your IDE. What is this IDE called? What is it called? What is an IDE? I know I've mentioned it before now. Integrated Development what? Environment. And I said every programmer needs an interface or need a development environment where they can write and execute code. So where do we write code? In Linux. Which interface have we been using to write and execute our code in Linux so far? This is the Linux what? Terminal, right? This is the Linux terminal. So this terminal is not a text editor. Text editor are used for creating file, right? That is why after we switch to the text editor to create the function, we have to use what? Write Q, that's what? WQ, to return us to where? To the IDE before we could execute what the function was actually created for, isn't it? So let me just show you what I am saying. And we are looking at the second function, right? We are still looking at functions in bash. Function in bash. So how to write and execute function in bash as one of the scripting language for navigating around Linux. Now, to create a function, please, I want us to focus just like you are writing and you are also what? Focusing. Now, to create a function, we need to specify the editor that will help us to write what? The function and store it in a file, right? And to do that, I will start with what? V space the name of the file where the function will be stored. Because the idea is this, I just hope that you understand the explanation I want to give now. Why is it that each time we want to create variable, each time we want to create function, we are not creating them directly in the terminal? We are creating them in a file, rather, right? In a file. And the file is running in an editor. And that is why when I do VI, I say, okay, let's say what? Fun2. So that fun2 dot sh. So that sh, like I said the other time, is the what? The extension, right? One of the extension that can be used to store bash what? File. Now, what we are saying is that the VI is the editor in which this file will be written and stored. So once I press enter, then it opens up what? The editor and provide me an interface like page, if I'm to use that word so that you can understand, like an MS Word. When you open the MS Word, you know, you have a page, right? Which is always what? Blank page, waiting for you to enter what? Information. Now, before I can type, I told us that normally when you launch text editor from your terminal, they will always be in reading mode, not what? Writing mode. Reading mode means what? You can only see what you created in the file, but you cannot add to it. And for me to say that I want to write, I will press what? I, right? Which means that what? I have switched from what? Reading mode to what? Writing mode. Now, if I type, I can now what? Write. So the first thing I said we should do is to initiate the language that I am going to use to write the function, right? And to initiate it, you write what? Hash, right? Then what? Exclamation, then slash bin, slash what? Bash. Then you press enter. Okay? Now, what this line will do is to format this page. I'm just using that word so that you can understand. As bash what? Page. Or to format this document as what? Bash what? Document, not Python. Okay? Good. Because the editor will still be used to write Python code. So the editors are there to write what? Any language you want to what? Use. Now, after that, a function syntax says that you start by writing the function name from the last class, right? So I could just say my function name is my underscore fun is the name of the function. And from the last class, I told us that what? You open what? The parentheses what? Brackets. Okay? And then you press enter. Then you open a coiling bracket, another one, and then go in there, then expand it, then in between. So this coiling bracket is called what? Code block. Because we were taught when I defined function, I said functions are used to group what? Code, right? I said functions are what? Block of what? Code, which means that what? You are grouping. You are grouping. So which means that the whole of this coiling brace or bracket is for grouping what? Set of code. What you like the function to execute. Because every function must have an action. And the action is what produces what? The expected what? Outputs. So what do you want the function to do for you? For example, I am creating a function that can sum what? Number. That is sum of what? 500 plus what? 600, for example. So if I'm going to achieve that, I will start by calling, I'll create a variable. Remember, we're talking about what? Variable, right? I'll create variable, and then remember that variable must have what? A name, and the assignment operator, which is what? Represented with the equal sign there. Then followed by $sign. followed by $sign. Remember the other time we put what? $sign. Followed by $sign. And then you open your bracket. This is another function inside what? The main function. Then here, I will just create $1 as the first variable, then space plus $2 as the second variable. Then I close it. So you can see that what? The moment I close, it indented automatically by itself. Because the line, the code structure should be, if not that I came down to open this is where I will have opened it here. So if I'm opening it here, the next information should be indented. That's what there should be paragraph space. That is why as soon as I type, it shifted it by itself. Okay. Now, what you did is that you just create a variable holding two values. The first value will be stored in what? $1. The second value will be stored in what? $2. Then there is an operator in between them, which is plus, which means that once I supply the value, what will happen? This is what? Addition function. So whatever value I send to $1 will be added to what? The value I send to what? $2. Okay. Now, I said to output, you must always display your output. How do you display the result to the users? You have to echo. Hope you still remember the echo, right? Echo. Now, you echo. I want to echo it with string. Your answer is colon. Your answer is what? Is colon, then variable what? Sum. That is what? The calculation will be done and the answer will be stored in what? In sum. So as you are echoing here, it will display this text as a string and then output the answer that will have been calculated and stored in the sum variable. That is the communication. Then I have to what? End my string. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to call the function outside the declaration block. Remember, we have established the syntax. Every function needs to be what? Called. So how do you call the function? You simply call the name of the function. That is what? My what? My underscore what? Fun. Somebody will have been wondering that where are the numbers that will be added together? So it is when I am calling the function that I will now supply the value. So the value, the first value will be what? 20. This I will just space. The second one will be what? This. So what I have simply said is that what? 20 will be stored in what? $1. 40 will be stored in what? $2. So this is a function holding variable, and you are supplying the value to the parameters through calling the function. So once I'm done with this, I am to exit. I'll press what? Escape, right? And then colon what? Right and what? Quit. And that brings me here, right? Now, I need to execute because I cannot execute within the text editor. I can only execute in the what? The terminal. That is why once the text editor has done its own job, you must what? Save it and return to where the code was registered. So now the first thing I will do is to make this name, this file, executable file. Executable file by typing what? ch what? Mode, right? And then what? Plus asterisk or times, then followed by the name of the file, which is what? Fun2 dot what? sh. So that will make it what? Executable file. Now I want to enter the directory of the file. I will just type what? Dot slash, followed by what? The name of the file again, which is what? fun2 dot what? sh. Now, what did we get here? What did they outputted? Syntax error. So there's an issue. So you can see we have to debug it. So what it's simply saying is that, let me read it out, fun2 dot sh at line 15. Syntax error near unexpected token. So the problem is around 20 and is also what? Here. So that is to give me an idea on what? Where to troubleshoot. Now that there's error, how do I go back to the file? I'll just type what? vi, the file again, and that brings me back for me to what? To troubleshoot properly. Let me see where the error is. It's complaining of what? This particular section here. So what is the syntax error here? Let's see. Let me enter insert mode first. Insert mode. It complains that is around what? 20. Okay, let me see for some time. $. Now, let me go back. So to go back, I will just quickly do what? Sorry, escape. Then I have to recommit the file. WQ, write and quit. And then let me just call this and see. Let me say line. This time around now, the error is at what? Line 13. Let's debug. Let me go back. Probably. Let me try and let's check it now. Now we escape. Escape, save. WQ. Then PH mode. With the same name. Directory. Perfect. What do we have there? No? Your answer is, your answer is, now what I'm going to do is that, let me allow us to copy so that you can also write it. Let me see if it's going to work for you guys. Let me just go back while I take time to debug it. So just write this code out now. Turn off the light and write it out first. I'm just having this error, but the answer is there. The answer is 45. You understand? The answer is 45, but I'm not supposed to have that error. That is what I'm trying to troubleshoot out. Look, this particular file is b function dot sh. The two values I supplied here are what? 30 and what? 60, right? Which means if the two numbers are added up, we are supposed to get what? 90, right? We're supposed to get 90. Now, if you are getting that error, provided it's calculating your answer, it means that it's your library issue. That is what I'm trying to find out here. If I do something like this now, let me save and quit. And then I come back to the directory. You see that what? It outputted what? 90. So even if you are getting this error, are you getting the actual result first? That's what I want to confirm. Nobody has gotten the answer. Somebody should bring his laptop. Let me check. So we did mention that outside bash, we have another Linux scripting language, which is called Python. Now, we don't want to go into the theoretical aspects of Python, because that is something you can actually research on. Want to know what is Python programming language. Then you want to also know about data type, though I have spoken about data type before. So one thing about these programming languages is that the basics of one, to an extent, covers what? The other. So which means that there are some areas that I've explained, which we will just adopt as a general standard. For example, when I started talking about bash, I took us back to basic programming, where I said in programming, we have variable, right? And I did say that variable are used to store values within a program. Then I also talk about data types. Talk about data types, where I said in programming, there are different types of information we use in speaking or scripting or programming that particular language. So where I mentioned primitive. So all of those information that I gave us before, I want to simply adopt them as standard. So which means that I ought to be discussing them again. But because I just finished talking about them in bash, so we'll just adopt them. So let's look at Python basic syntax. Python basic syntax. Let me start from there. Python basic syntax. Python basic syntax. So I want to quickly give us some information, just like I gave to us when we were in bash. Remember that in bash, we said that for you to recognize a file or initiate bash file, you must write what? Hash, exclamation, /bin, and what? Slash what? Bash. So we also have that same standard in Python, because we are going to use the same editor. So how would the editor differentiate bash scripts from what? Python what? Scripts. It depends on what? The initiator. So let's quickly write as our first note. Python script in Linux always start with. So this is what Python script start with in Linux. Python script in Linux always start with hash, exclamation, /usr, USR, not in capital letters, small letters, my keyboard that, /bin /Python. So this is the syntax. So this is equivalent to that one of what? Bash. So this is the first basic syntax we need to understand. The second one is, I hope you are done with writing this. The second syntax is that to declare a variable, there are also rules here. To declare a variable, you will write, so this is the variable syntax, variable name. You will write variable name. Everything should be written in small letter. Variable name, then followed by the value. Variable name followed by the value. Am I communicating? Variable name equals to what? Value. Now, for those that missed the bash section, this equal sign in programming does not represent equality. It represents what? An operator, and it is called assignment operator. So it's just like the pipe that is piping the value into what? The variable, which is the container. Are you with me? So this is going to be the syntax. Now, let's look at another basic syntax dealing with Python in Linux. The next one is to print something out. To print something out. To print something out. You are going to write print. But in bash, what would we use in the place of print? We are going to use print, and then what you want to print comes in here. So your text here. So this is going to be the syntax. No, I said everything I'm writing is small letter. It's the handwriting I'm using. Are you with me? So now, in bash, we use echo to print, right? But in Python, we are using what? Print. So that is why I said once you have learned one programming language, learning others is as good as you have already settled what? 30 to 40%. But most of the concepts we use in bash will be replicated here. That will make it easier for us to understand. Now, let's quickly let's look at the application now in our terminal. So in my terminal, let me clear everything. What is the code for clearing everything? Let me know if you are still there. Yeah. Clear, good. If I want to reboot this, let's say your own is hanging. If you type reboot like this next time and you press enter, it will shut down what? To shut down the machine and take you back to this. You know the way we normally start now? Good. So just take note of that. It's a command you can use. Once you type reboot, instead of you closing, it will start everything again. So I don't want to waste our time. You can try it while you are listening. You can try it. Let's see what happens. Did it work? Okay, good. So now I want to apply it. So I will start by creating a file also. So write your step now. Create a function. Let's see how to create function in Python. The first task is we want to create a function, the way we created function in bash. So what are the steps required? Create a file name through the editor. Create a file name through the editor. So I'm giving all the steps because of the young man that was not in the last class. So how do I achieve that? Look up. I will just say what? VI, you can see it now. I am still using what? The same editor. All right? VI. Then the name of the file, I'll say, okay, Python function. Python function. Python function as the name of my file. Okay. Now, what is a Python extension? Py. Have we? In the place of .sh, I can do what? .py to show that what is a Python file. So if I do .what? Py and I press enter, so it will create it. Okay. Now, the next thing I am going to do is to specify the language I am using to create the file, which is what? Remember the standard hash. Sorry, I have to first of all enter what? Insert what? Mode. Then hash, exclamation what? Slash what? US what? R slash what? Python, right? Hello, you wrote it now. Is this slash Python or bin? I think there's bin there. There is bin. Abi bin slash what? Python. So you can see that what? This one we shouldn't waste that because we are still adopting most of the same. So now I said for you to declare a function, look at it in Python. For you to declare a function, you start with what? You start with def. So def is a constant, which means what? Function definition keyword. So you can note it down. Function definition keyword in Python is called what? Def across all platforms, not just Linux. Function what? Definition keyword is what? DEF, and it should not be written in what? Capital letter. So anytime you start DEF, it tells Python that you are about to create what? Function, right? Followed by the function name. So my function name can be function. So I'm just using what? Function name. I'm using camel case. Function name. I hope you are writing. You are not coding. These notes you are supposed to be writing now. Function name. Function name followed by the parenthesis bracket and colon. Just pay attention. Later you copy. Just be writing the keyword. Now you can see the syntax now. Okay, let me just stop so that you can observe that first line. You can see that the structure of the code is different from the structure of the code. Yes, that is the format, please. If you are speaking Python, this is the format. So any language you are speaking, you must understand it was syntax. Syntax means the formats, the rules that governs the way the program should be written. So once we are done writing that line, let me know, because I don't want us to be distracted. Once you are done writing that line, let me know so that I can continue. Can I continue now? Now, note, in Python, indentation matters a lot. Write down those so that I can explain what is called indentation. Though by default, it has already indented itself. How do I know? Look at this. The space here now is called what? Indent. If by any reason you move this, you start your next writing under the DEF, Python is going to flag it. So once you have declared your function name, your next line of code is not expected to have the same alignment with this. You saw it in the case of bash. It also indented what? By itself. Now, the next thing from the note I gave to us, there's a place I said to output anything in Python. You write it in what? Print function, right? So I will say what? Print, then open the bracket, and then the type of data you want to print matter. If I want to print number, I will just put the number inside without what? Quoting it. I have explained that in the last class. So what do I want to print? I want to print what? Welcome to my cyber security training. My cyber security training. Then it's a string, so I have to also close it. Then close the bracket. So this is syntax. What's the difference between this one? There is no coiling brace brackets here, right? Like bash. Now, you must also call your function. Note, in Python, to display, to execute function, you must call the name of the function outside the declaration block. So I'm giving out this standard note because of if you are running Python in other platforms. Because here there is no declaration what? Bracket. So now see what I'm going to do here. And to call the function, you use the name of the function. So what I'm going to simply call is the name and the parentheses. So I'll simply say what? Remember I said it must come here. This is the alignment for calling the function. Because if you write it under this line, it means that what? It is part of this. This is the alignment because this is where it was declared. So the closing is the calling now. Just like that calling bracket that we use in the case of bash. And what I'm going to write to call it is just this. But the colon will not be there. So I'll just write what? Function. Function what? Name. Just like this. And then what? With the bracket like this. Now with this, you have called the function. Now, what I want it to print has already been written inside it with what? String. So this is not a function with a variable. So the next one I'm going to do now, it will be the one that will store what? Will store value in the variable. And then when we are calling the function, we pass in what? The information, just like that 20 and what? That 25. So now I will have to save, escape again, then column and what? W and what? Q to save and what? Quit. And that brings me here. So I will also do what? Change mode, ch mode, plus. What is the name of the file? It's showing there, right? Which is a Python function. Dot what? Dot py. So we have it now to enter the main directory so that I can execute, so I can see welcome to my cyber security training, which we store in the printing method. I'll do the same thing. Slash Python function dot what? Py. So you can see it's no error. Welcome to what? My cyber security what? Training. So I'm going to pause. If I want to go back now, let me pause so that I can go back. You just type what? The VI stroke what? Or the name. So now I'm going to pause for us to execute before I proceed. All right. That's the code if you are yet to verify yours. Now, this function is a function without argument. So I want to create another function with argument. Right. To create a function that takes an argument. To create a function that takes an argument. So I'm going to explain what an argument is. To create a function that takes an argument. So let me also start by creating the file name, vi, let's say function, let's say f arguments. Dot what? Dot py. Now, as usual, what is the standard? To tell the editor that you are writing Python code, enter insert mode, and then hash exclamation slash USR, abi, slash bin, right? Slash Python. Now, like I said, so I will start with the function definition. How do you define function? D what? D, are we together? DEF is what? Function name. Function what? Name. Function name. Okay. For me, let me see if for me, that's so function name. So let me just give it what? Name, then open the bracket. So this is what we mean by what? Argument. Look up. The other one we created, the difference between this function and the other one is that the function, the other one, the function did not receive what? Argument. Whatever you put in the parenthesis bracket, in the bracket is the argument. Okay? It's just like a variable. It's just like a variable. So you are like indirectly saying that there will be a variable called name that will receive a value called what? Prosper. But at the point you are declaring it inside the function name, you are not defining the value. So what I will do, I will print, pay attention. I will print, what do I want to print? Pay attention. What do I want to print? My name. My name is, so this information here is a string. In other words, a name will be outputted Prosper, but I don't want them to just see the name. I want to see what? My name is Prosper. So that Prosper, this my name is not stored in any variable. So I am passing it through the printing method. Then I will now reference the arguments that will be held as a placeholder that will hold what? The name. Now I will now concatenate. This is exactly what I want you to do. What we call concatenation. Concatenation means what? You are joining. So you are concatenating this text using plus with the variable indirectly or with the argument called what? Name. But you are not actually recognizing this direct as variable. That if we want to recognize this as variable, we'll have added what? Maybe, okay, this is not bash. So now we go down. So the next thing is for me to call the function. Remember the last one we just created. That after creating your function, you have declared what is going to print. Then you call it. And how do you call it? You call the name. The other time, we just call the name like this without putting anything in the bracket, right? Now, the idea is that this argument is like an empty what? Container. And then here, you are printing this. When it gets here, pick the placeholder, and then the name will now follow. So you see the logic now. So this is where I am supplying the value. So whenever you are printing a function with an argument, through printing, when you are calling the function, you supply the value. That is where you supply the value. So if, for example, now I have name, let's say first name, comma, second name, or first name, middle name as argument. what will be here? Plus what? First name plus what? Then here, I will what? Supply two string, comma, and then the other, which means that what? To follow that order. So each of them will receive their values from the calling what? Aspect of the function. So of course, now let's go and execute this. Escape, colon, write, and quit. Now, ch mode plus, what is the name? The name is what? It's f what? F argument. F argument. So I want to type Python argument. So let's follow the name we use. .py. Then enter the directory. .py also. So what does it say? There's an error. There's an error. Definition. Unexpected what? Index. Where I told you. So where do we have the index? We have so let me go back and check where my index, but if you have captured it, you can be writing your own. Okay. Can anybody tell us the error? I've seen the error. Can anybody figure it out? Look at where the calling is. So this calling is supposed to what? Come to this side. You see, so we're supposed to. Now it has already. So I have. Okay, sorry, I'm not even in a insert mode first. So I will escape and then write again and quit. So let me just call it. Still complaining of that index, expected index, so it's not correct yet. So I'll go back. But make sure that you don't repeat that mistake when you are doing yours. Okay, I don't think these two they are on the same. But let me just get it right. Name, Prosper. I think I should be good to go now. Any other index? Yeah. Who has outputted? Who's the same? PH mode. Dots. Unexpected index. Where definition name. Okay. At line 3. So let me go back. Sorry, this is where it comes. Somebody should please try and okay, you can't see the code. Please snap. Let me see, let me confirm. Name is Prosper. Now it's still index issue. Now this was the issue. I have to take this one back. There was space before the DEF. You understand? So the space, what I did is that I took it off to be on the same line with this, then press enter so that it will align. That's why I said Python does not overlook at indentation. So you have to be mindful of that. So let me quickly take the last one, which is capturing inputs in Python, the way we did for Bash. Capturing inputs in Python. So let me give them. All right. Capturing user inputs in Python, just like the way we did for Bash, where we ask user to supply certain information. If we want to create such command in Python, how do we go about it? User inputs in Python. Capturing user input in Python. Right. To read input from users. To read input from users at the command line and store it as a variable. To read input from a user or users at the command line and store it as a variable. Just like that Bash, we'll collect the information, we'll store it in what? In a variable, and then we'll print it out. So the steps. One, let me create a file also. V inputs dot what? Py also. Then switch to insert mode by pressing I, and then initiate the language code, which is /usr/bin/Python. Now, so the next thing I'm going to do, like I said, I'll create a variable. I said the input to be collected and stored in what? A variable. So let me say the variable is user input. I am using camel case equals to user input equals to input. So this is the function. Inputs. What are you collecting from the user? Let's say I want them to enter your name. That is the first one. Enter your name. So I need to close it and then close the bracket. Okay. Then after this, I also want to collect their states. So after this, I'll say, okay, user states should be collected and stored in inputs. Enter your states. Then the same thing, close the bracket. What else do you want to collect? I want to collect their age, right? Or maybe gender. So that will be what? User sex. Input, so as much as possible, depending on what I want to collect. So I'm trying to make it a little bit complex here. Enter your age. Okay, sorry. Enter your gender. So let's say I want to stop here. So I'm collecting how many input from the user? 3, right? Good. Now, you have to print them. So I'll say what? Print. Remember, we have to output. Print, lookup. I will call all the variable name inside the print method. This is not like the other one whereby we quoted what we wanted to see. Everything we want to see will be collected and stored in what? Those variables. So what I should pass into the printing function is what? I'll start with what? The order I want to receive them. I want to display what? User input first. User input. Then if I want to receive them on the same line, so let me just put comma first and see what happened. We can come back and edit it. Followed by what? User states, comma, followed by what? User sex. Now I close the brackets. So I have to save and save. That's what? Column, right, and now ch mode. What is the name of my file? Input dot what? Dot py. I am in. Enter the directory properly. Input dot what? Py. So the first one is asking me that what? Enter your name, right? Enter your name. So my name is Prosper. I press enter. The other one say what? Enter your what? Your state. My state is Delta State, one of the wonderful states you wish to live in Nigeria. Enter your what? Gender, of course. As you can see my face. I'm a male. Once I press enter, what happened? Prosper, Delta, male. Now, this is not good. So we should have added a string. Your details are, or your biodata are, so how do I implement that? Watch. I'll go back to the file, right? Then in this place, I'll bring a string here first. I'll quote it because what I am bringing is not stored in any variable before now. Are you following? It's not stored in any variable. So I have to supply it as a string. I'll put what? Your biodata are column. Then I can space. Now I have to commit it again. Escape. WQ, right? Then let's do ch mode, I think. Then enter the directory. So, wow, what is the error? I think there's a mistake there. Sorry, we are supposed to remove that. We are supposed to put plus. You understand it now? We have to concatenate. So it's good. Challenge. Let's go back. I know some people are already giving me signal. Don't mind it. Now, where do we make the mistake? We have to concatenate here, right? I have to concatenate here. Plus. Good, that was a mistake. So now let's escape. Let me find out. Okay, so let's escape. Right. Then just do this. Okay, perfect. Now, your name, Okoro. States, Edo. Gender, female. What did he say? Did you get the answer? Something is still not defined. Something is still not defined. At what? There's still a mistake somewhere. Okay, debug it out before the next class. Debug it out before the next class. Or you just print it direct the way we printed it before. Okay, please. That's what it equals to dt equals to is a string. So I will store what? Your info. And then, so now, I will now take this, escape, right? Then here, I will start with that info, that detail, variable. So I will do, though it will follow the order. So what I will have done is what? To collect it there, but let's just go. Then the name, let's say Peter. State, let's say Lagos. Gender, let's say male. So it has putted, but the issue is that
user input, no mistake.
Yes.
It's supposed to be user input. You use user.
Hey, is it from there, right?
From that premise.
I wonder, let me see. Where is it?
It's user. Supposed to use it.
So I believe you understand what I'm saying now.
Still there, still there. You have to enter the right name.
Oh, sorry.
Still there.
So what are we bringing now? I'm bringing user input. Capital letter, I mean. Use. You know that is correct. Well, everything is correct now, eh? Everything is correct. Good. Then now, okay. Yeah, snap now, because after this. Okay, so let's check again if everything is correct. Now, there's something I want to do. I would prefer this one should come first so that we qualify to be on the straight line. So we all do a detail. Details equals to what? Input, right? So detail input. Sorry, input. So let me just form. What should be there now? Your info. Your info. You're trying to use this tool. Okay, so let's write. Okay, sorry. All right, I'll go back. Okay. The info is what? My details. Detail. Your name, Prosper. State, Lagos. Gender, male. Exit. That did not show, have you? What is this one now?
You want to make instead of male.
Instead of male, have you? Could that be okay? I'm gonna make mistake. I'm gonna go error. Okay, so what will happen is that just go by the first one I created. Let's go and master that. Let me go back to the file so that you can come because of time. Maybe if I can debug it out, if I see, I was really trying to make it look more creative.